Welcome to St. Peter's Halliwell Thought for the Day. My name is Paul, and I'm going to share some thoughts with you from the book of John. And it's chapter 9, verses 1 to 12. And I'm going to share just a few verses from it. As he walked along, Jesus saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" Jesus answered, "Neither this man nor his parents sinned. He was born blind so that God's works might be revealed in him." And Jesus goes and heals this man. He spits on the ground and makes mud, puts it on his eyes, and the man can see. And loads of people gather and they're saying, "Is it the man that was born blind, or is it someone that just looks like him?" And the man says, "No, it's definitely me. Jesus has healed me." And I was reminded again of this story this week. It's been a really important story in my own life. But last week I was at the wedding of Andy and Beth Bird. And it was an amazing day of celebration. But one of the things that struck me was that there were 4 of us in that room of 30 people. Myself, Andy, and Andy's brother and sister. And we were all born with this condition called cleft lip and palate, which basically in the womb, your face, when you're kind of being formed in the womb, the 2 sides of your face apparently grow at the same time and they kind of meet in the middle and fuse. But with this condition, it doesn't happen quite like that for some reason. And so for me, I was born with a hole in my lip and my mouth, which is a nightmare for feeding, learning to talk, all those kinds of things. And I grew up thinking a lot, like, God, if you loved me, why would you let this happen? Why would you let me be born with this? And why would you allow me to feel so different and be socially awkward and struggle to talk and all these things? But I was amazed, really. I was at the wedding and looking at us 4 guys, and there was myself, Andy, and his siblings. All of us now, as adults, are involved in speaking, leading worship. Andy's sister's a primary school teacher. But, you know, when we were first born, I don't think anyone would have looked into our cots and said, these guys are going to be singing and teaching children things and being upfront around people, that kind of thing. It just wouldn't have been in your mind. But it reminded me that God is in the business of doing the impossible with ordinary people. And even more than just ordinary people, doing the total unlikely thing and changing it around for his glory. And I wanted to encourage you today. You might be thinking, God could never use me in this area, or I'm too this, I'm too that, I'm not this or I'm not that. But I think that God is in the habit of doing the amazing with ordinary people like us. So that was the first thing I wanted to encourage you with. And then the second thing was, I really used to find it painful talking about this, about growing up, until someone asked me at my last church, when I was about 23, 24, they asked if I would share my story. And I didn't enjoy doing it at the time. It was quite painful and quite raw to talk about growing up with this condition. But the amazing thing was, as I spoke about it, this healing took place in my life. It was like, oh, that was really good to get off my chest. And also this past week, a friend of mine came to me and said, "Paul, I've got all these thoughts going on in my head and I'm not really sure what to do with them. I've got this thought, this thought, this thought. It just comes into my head." And because they were vulnerable with me, amazingly, I was like, you know what? You're not the only person that's told me that they've had these thoughts. I've had like 5 or 6 other people tell me these things. And the good news is you're not a weirdo. You're not a freak like you think you are. It's just normal. Like, you can go and see a doctor and they will tell you the exact same thing. These are normal thoughts going on in your head. But it reminded me how good it is to talk and be vulnerable and share. And, you know, when we talk, we bring things into the light. Then that's when the place that I think Jesus comes and meets us and does a really good healing work. So, yeah, I hope that encourages you today, and I'm out of time. So God bless you.